Thanks for joining me for a Kick Up the Arts. I am Nicola Meehan, and in this episode I'm joined by an actor, writer, comedian and TV star thanks to his roles in Look Around You, Fags, Mags and Bags, Dept Q, I Swear, the new Irn Bru advert, and of course, in Still Game. He's also a synthesizer in keytar maverick who's played on stage with Wilco, but we'll come to that. Sanjeev Kohli's starring in a new adults-only panto this month. Of course he is. It's Patter Productions' The Wizard with a Big Baws, which is touring Greenock, Dumbarton and Glasgow, so we chat about that and his life and work, and his choice of a favourite Scottish album, film and book. We recorded this live at the Stand in Glasgow. Thank you so much if you joined us in the audience to hear Sanjeev's tales of stalking Christaberg, of Twitter spats with Carol Decker, of Bollywood fever dreams on Still Game, and also about who'd play him in his biopic. Spoiler alert, it's one of the Crankies. Come out, wherever you are. Oh yeah, exactly. I'd have loved it if you still hadn't come out. Yeah, I'm sorry we're starting ever so slightly late. We were just waiting on our cups of coffee.
Sorry, that was on my own.
Yeah, you are.
That was quite triggering because I was born by C-section.
Oh, what? Me too. I would toast you, but I've left mine over on that part of the stage. I was so keen to get you yours. So
go get your coffee.
I will do.
I'll hold your mic.
Thank you.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from Rio. It doesn't work with two mics. I thought I'd get Bo Rap.
I can't believe I didn't put Freddie Mercury enthusiast in that great introduction there, Sanjeev. I'm very sorry. How are you?
Clearly I was sent to kill Freddie Mercury, judging by that performance.
Fellow C-section birthie.
There you go.
Apparently you have a more perfect face if you have been born by C-section. I mean, I just made that up, but it must be true. There you go. I mean,
Glasgow's premier pound shop Jeff Goldblum, so I don't know.
That's not bad, actually.
There's worse looking like he's.
It's lovely to see. It's just occurring to me now that the last time I saw you,
Edinburgh.
Yeah, I forcefully accosted you and forced you into a gig. Hamish Hawke via Ivor Cutler.
I was happily huckled to see that.
You were meant to be doing something totally different.
But I didn't know. I mean, it's weird though because Hamish Hawke is someone that was on my radar and I'd never seen. And then I adore Ivor Cutler. And then Hamish Hawke was doing a show about his love of Ivor Cutler, and it was absolutely wonderful.
Wasn't it?
And you got me in, so thanks.
Yeah. Sanjeev was meant to be going somewhere else. I said, listen, Hamish, brilliant musician, of course, but conjuring Ivor Cutler. So it had everything, didn't it? It had comedy, it had humour, it had literature. It was in the Spiegel tent at Edinburgh Book Festival as well. And I think it's coming out as a record. But yes,
excellent.
It is indeed. Yeah, so it was a really, really special event. Briefly, speaking of this event, while I remember, I need to actually pick up my notes at some point. But yeah, we're going to be here till about 4 o'clock or thereabouts. Sanjeev and I will talk about his life and work. He has soldiered through. He is not contagious, but he has soldiered through a flu.
I was contagious.
Till yesterday.
No, I've had this. Anyone had this horrible virus? There's a couple doing the rounds. They're gay. And I was properly bedridden with it for 4 or 5 days. And then the cough has stayed. So at some point I will cough like Pavarotti. Don't be alarmed. I might actually throw up a lung again. I'll just push it back in. It'll be fine. It's way more dramatic than it needs to be. But typical man, and I can't help it. It's a full body cough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like once it starts, that's it. We're going to try and prevent that. We've got you some water if
I practically do the worm when I do a cough.
I know. I saw that. It's like a whole dance and everything. So we'll chat about Sanjeev's life and work as much as we can, along with, as we've been doing with these sessions at the Stand, a choice of a favourite Scottish album, film and book that Sanjeev has picked for us. So we kind of imagine that we've gatecrashed Sanjeev's house one afternoon or evening and he puts on a record, shows us a movie, which is actually still on at the cinema, spoiler alert, at the moment, the one you've chosen, and then you give us a book for some bedtime reading. However, let us start with the fact that you've been making headlines this very week, Sanjeev Kohli, on account of the fact that you're going to star in an adults-only pantomime.
Yes.
Wolf whistles,
Sexy
please.
panto.
X-rated.
Yeah.
Tell us the title.
The Wizard with the Big Baws.
Okay.
And I'm the wizard. So I've started wearing more generous trousers. No, it's a weird one. So basically, the amazing Gail Telfer-Stevens, who is a friend and a colleague and an absolute force of nature and an incredibly talented writer-performer. So I met her doing River City and become very, very close friends. And I just think she's amazing. Yeah. She's so, apart from the talent, because she's like a triple threat. She can do everything, sing, dance, act, the whole bit. But also she's incredibly driven, and she just generates work and does it. And she had said, look, if I write this adult panto and I do it, would you do it with me? And I immediately said yes. So I've still not seen the script, but it's Gail, so I'm doing it. But it's not my first panto. So,
No?
I mean, this will possibly emerge as you interview me, but my weird kind of route to where I am now has involved very little live work. So I went from radio presenter to sketch writer to sketch performer to performer, but all of which was radio and telly. It was never stage. Yeah. So I never did the panto thing, and it wasn't by design. I mean, I love panto. I think a well-written panto is worth its weight in gold. I mean, it can be as clever as it needs to be, but it also has to be multi-layered. Making kids laugh is an art form in itself, or making the parents laugh as well. I think, you know, a well-written panto is, you know, I'm all for it, but I just never got asked, because what ends up happening is it's the same actors that do the panto for good reason. And they're booked in like March, April to do December, January. Yeah. So I never got a look in. There was a couple of near misses, and then what happened was lovely Gavin Mitchell, who you know, so Gav, who plays Bobby in Still Game and many, many other things, he got long COVID one year, and it was I think he got diagnosed in September. So he was meant to be Ebenezer in Aladdin at the SEC with Greg McHugh. So the idea was it was Gary Tank Commander as Aladdin. Is that right? Yeah, that is right, yeah. And but Gav had to pull out. And so they approached me. So yeah, but the funny thing about that was that they'd already done the press shoots for it. So they thought, well, it's fine though, because Gav and I are roughly the same body shape, and you can't see his hands or anything. You can't see his very, very white West of Scotland hands. So they basically put my head on his body, which was absolutely fine, except for some reason they picked a photo of me wearing glasses. So you've got Ebenezer with these National Health glasses on. Which, you know, to be fair, it's inclusive, I suppose, because why can't Ebenezer be a bit short-sighted and put his readers on? I'll put my readers on. Oh, no, these are my driving ones. So, and then we did the panto, right? And the thing is that because I don't have, maybe at this point I'd done the Still Game live show, so I had experience of doing live, but I still feel like I hadn't really earned my stripes. So, like for example, when I was doing River City, I'd be working with all these amazing actors who had done all the venues, Ormore, Alhambra, you know, Cumbernauld, Glenrothes, all the stages, you know, Baldybane, you know, going around in bands. I mean, I just felt like an Arab East, like a complete Johnny-come-lately, as I normally do, because imposter syndrome, if I've not been trained in anything, I've got a fucking maths degree. So I've always felt like this kind of, you know, I've not really earned my place. Did the Still Game live shows, they went okay. So I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, look, do you know what? Maybe I can be Ebenezer. But the thing is that the role that I'm most famous for is Naveed, who's incredibly deadpan, and I'm supposed to give it pure Brian Blessed fruitcake. So I'm thinking, have I got this in me? And so I really, really went for it. I sort of channeled probably Jeremy Irons in The Lion King, Scar. This is for you and your daddy. So I kind of did it like that. That was what I was channeling in my head. And I think I got away with that. And then, so that was, it stopped on Boxing Day. There was a year that COVID ruined everything again. So I think we're meant to go on to like the 4th of January, but they had to stop it on Boxing Day. Anyway, at the end of January, I get an email from my agent saying, you've been nominated for Best Newcomer at a UK Panto. Well, and I'm thinking, UK Panto Awards, is that a thing? It was. It was like, it was on a Tuesday. It was in London in, I think, March, April that year. And yeah, Christopher Biggins was presenting it. Bonnie Langford was there. And it was like a high camper. It was good fun. And then it came to my award. I'm thinking, my God, at that time I was 51. I thought, best newcomer at anything. And then I didn't win, though. Do you know who won?
No, I don't.
Can I have a rumble, please, for everyone?
Who won? Yeah, like proper drum roll here.
Judge fucking Rinder. Who turns out younger than me. That was also disappointing. But yeah, Judge Rinder won for what he'd done in Southampton.
God, right, okay.
And that's the weird thing about the UK Panto was it's obviously regional. So, I mean, no one in the room had seen the Panto.
Yeah.
And then So
Okay.
yeah, but I was pleased to be nominated.
Yeah, and it was something new. But this is going to be quite a different rodeo, panto rodeo, I
yes,
imagine.
yeah. It's going to be well saucy.
It's also post-Christmas as well, so I think you can see it in Greenock and Dumbarton and then Glasgow. I love that you don't really know what you've let yourself in for, Sanjeev. We're all going to have to go, right?
But I think
great.
sometimes you just need to do that, you know. It just keeps things interesting. I've got every faith in Gail Telfer-Stevens, so
quite.
you can blame her if it's rubbish.
Brilliant writer, brilliant performer, as you say, and yes, she will no doubt bring all of the energy. We'll talk more about the stage, no doubt, and the small screen and the big screen, because you've chosen as a film that, as I mentioned, we can still watch at the cinema. But let's start our little afternoon or evening, imaginatively round at yours, with a record. So before you tell us what you've chosen, although you might have heard some of it already, what was the sort of musical landscape like when you were growing up? What was playing at home? What were your pals playing?
See, this is what's really interesting about growing up in a family of immigrants. So my mum and dad came over from India in '66. They settled in London to start with, and then they came up to Glasgow in '73. So I'm the youngest of three boys. We'd all been born in London, which is why I've got a sort of an English accent. I say word, not word, and. But I've been here since I was 3 years old, so I mean Glasgow is my place, my home. But what it means is that you're in this house, and you know there is a record collection in the house, but it's all Sikh devotional songs and Bollywood soundtracks. Now there's nothing wrong with that, and I love them both. But you know, my pals are talking about the Stones and the Beatles and MC5 and Fleetwood Mac and you know Hawkwind. I don't have that, so I would rely on my brothers. So I'm the youngest of three, and my eldest brother, Randy, his best pal at school, loved his dad's record collection, and that was Deep Purple.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up on the music of Deep Purple. So I remember being 10 years, and also I love the charts. I love pop music, still love pop music. I think it's a very denigrated art form. I think, you know, a good pop tune is, you know, it's not easy. Yeah. You know, I think someone like Paul McCartney who seems to just toss these things off. I think it's very, very difficult art form, you know, to make your point in quite a short time. So I remember being 10 years old, and my three favourite songs were Going Underground by The Jam, Message in a Bottle by The Police, and Child in Time by Deep Purple.
Oh, wow.
So, and when
that's a triple threat.
Yeah, but also I loved ABBA, you know, and I loved Boney M, but also I loved the Scorpions, and so it was, in a weird way, it was quite nice, because I guess I came to music with no judgment. Music was either good or shite. And you know, we would go to the Sikh temple on a Sunday, and I would love to hear the kind of the Sikh devotional stuff with harmoniums and very, very different vibe. But then also it's difficult because you kind of, you know, as any child, you want to fit in. So you're not going to talk about that stuff to your pals, and especially when they used to show Bollywood films on Channel 4 back in '82. And I'd go to school the next day. I thought, please, I hope no one watched them, because they're so over the top, and they're so, you know, like expecting me to do like triple salcos on the playground.
Quite.
So it was a weird kind of in terms of music, and it was very, very strange. Like there's this term in Asian culture, coconut, and if you're coconut, it means you're brown on the outside but you're white on the inside. And I got called that a lot, because I wasn't really into Bhangra music or into the Indian stuff. I was, like I say, I was into Rush and Deep Purple and stuff. So but then it was weird. I grew up in Bishopbriggs, and there were all these Sikh families, 5 or 6 Sikh families, and for some reason all the kids were into prog rock. So we'd go round for dinner, and then honestly, we're playing 2112 in Jatinder's room upstairs, and Christ knows what the parents were thinking.
Okay.
But there is something about the campery of prog that fits in quite well with the Sikh faith, because Sikh faith is quite camp. There's lots of twinkly lights and long beards. It was a weird one. And then I discovered hip hop when I remember hearing "Bring the Noise" by Public Enemy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was listening to Mike Smitty Smith on Radio 1 in my mum's Volvo on the way to school, and "Bring the Noise" came on, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" I was aware of hip hop because by that point we'd heard like the Rapper's Delight and the Sugar Hill Gang and all that, but hearing Chuck D and the anger and the energy, that was a proper switch on moment, and I got madly into hip hop, and through hip hop got into the samples. So I got into James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, Parliament Funkadelic, and then got into acid jazz and all that kind of stuff. So when I was at university, I was really, really into house music and funk and soul and hip hop, and I kind of left rock behind until Nirvana came back in '91.
Okay.
And I will maintain to this day, when I first heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit," it's pure Black Sabbath. When it goes ding 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 ding, hey, that is just Black Sabbath. That's Tony Iommi.
Yep.
That chord. So I rediscovered rock after that. So
the wonderful thing about that is you're absolutely right about the Nirvana and a very, very hard rock influence deep in even Kurt Cobain's vocal. But the other thing was it brings it back to Glasgow because he was completely enthralled to the kind of the Bells Hill beat.
Well,
the,
it's one of my favourite. I've got my two favourite pop facts, right? I'll tell you. The first one is, "Toxic" by Britney Spears, right? Banger. Okay, who do you think it's about? Now, most people think it's Justin Timberlake, right? Thing is that Britney didn't write Toxic. Toxic was written by Kathy Dennis, who had been a bit of a pop star herself, and then went to the States and wrote for, Katy Perry, Kylie. Did she write I Can't Get You Out of My Head?
Yeah, she wrote that for Kylie.
And she wrote Toxic. And do you know the story?
I do.
So her previous boyfriend had been, can I get none of these?
It's so unlikely and yet so believable.
The super vet. So Noel Fitzpatrick, he puts wheels on dogs when they can't walk and stuff. Toxic is about the super vet. So whenever Britney sings Toxic, she's singing about the super vet. True story.
It is.
And the reason I bring it up is the twin story with that is that Nirvana sang a song called Molly's Lips. It's like 2 minutes. Is it even 2 minutes long? Molly's Lips. Really, really brilliant pop tune, heavy pop tune. And that was a cover version of, I think, the Vaselines.
Yeah, Vaselines, yeah.
And they had written Molly's Lips about Molly Weir. About the way she used to put her lipstick on. So whenever Kurt Cobain was singing Molly's Lips, she was singing about Molly Weir. And there's your Glasgow connection.
It's absolutely, everything comes back to Glasgow, I do maintain. I remember once, a couple of years ago, interviewing the super vet. I think he'd brought out a book. And so I was interviewing on Radio in Scotland, but it was very hard not to judge, in light of the fact that I knew that Kathy Dennis had this extremely problematic, indeed toxic relationship with the guy and written this song about him. It's brilliant, isn't it? But it does come back to Glasgow, as does your choice of record. It's not just a quintessential, an absolute Scottish classic.
So Hipsy would have been up there, but the one that I mentioned is "A Walk Across the Rooftops" by the Blue Nile. And it's a weird one because you know how I did the same thing with the band Suede. Everyone told me to like Suede, and I thought, well, I'm not going to like them then. Yeah. Until I heard them, I thought, oh fuck, I wasted time there, didn't I? And the thing about the Blue Nile was that my brother was obsessed with the Blue Nile, and he would sing really badly Blue Nile songs in that. I thought, I can't possibly like that now. He ruined it for me, and he'd sing, let's go out tonight. Oh, stop it. And then eventually I heard "A Walk Across the Rooftops" as in the song. And a bit like Public Enemy, I'm like, what am I listening to here? There were so many genres clashing, and yet it still worked.
Yeah.
When you think of that kind of, there's so much pain in Paul Buchanan's voice and so much soul, and then an incredibly minimalist beat, and then that weird spirally bass comes in. What's that? That's come from Graham Central Station. It sounds like Larry Graham has just joined them for a session. And I loved how all those styles clashed. But I think it was just really the... and then Tinseltown in the Rain, the song itself. I mean, if you don't like Tinseltown in the Rain, then you're not my pal. How could you not like a song that it does everything?
Yeah.
It's a pop song, but the drama in it, the strings in it, and then when that funky guitar comes in, that comes from nowhere. What's that doing there? And yet it works.
Yeah.
And all again with this beautiful, doleful lyric. So, "A Walk Across the Rooftops" and "Hats," they're both beautiful albums.
They are.
And I return to them sort of like maybe like 3 or 4 times a year. I'll just play a walk across the rooftops on the dog walk, and it'll just like...
You kind of can't do anything else, right? It's not background music.
No, it's not. You'd have to commit. It's not wallpaper.
Do you remember when you first heard the track then? You're saying it was a bit like the
it was
Public
later.
Enemy moment.
No, because I think it was 84 that they released that. It wouldn't have been till probably after Hats.
Yeah.
Actually, that I heard it, because it was that. Honestly, my brother had ruined it he scorched the earth so badly. I couldn't go near it.
I love that because it has to work 2, 3 times, 4 times, however many times harder.
Yeah.
Because you'd already called the shots on it. You'd already made your decision, right? So to win you over...
I'm not going to like this.
You weren't going in as a captive audience.
Yeah. And what was really gratifying was then they got global success, and then they were on Miami Vice and stuff. And you think... I'm as guilty as any Ouija of being, come on, we need to represent.
Yeah.
And I do love it when... when Hipsway got to the Billboard Top 100 with the Honey Thief, it's like, punch in the air.
Yeah.
Because it feels like one of you.
Yeah.
And I'll see Paul Buchanan cutting about, having coffees in the West End and stuff. And it's weird. It's like, it's part of that pride thing as well. But it's also really nice when you hear something that, in the business that I work in, sometimes stuff that's made in Scotland can be a little bit parochial, or a little bit self-consciously Scottish to a fault. Not always, I'm not saying always, but a lot of the time, in my experience, it has been. And then you'll hear something that's just globally amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was made by someone that lives in Hillhead.
Yeah.
It just adds to it, I think.
It's so true. And that his voice there's something in it. It is something that seems to be... There's a seam of it that runs through kind of Scottish culture. I think probably King Creosote has an aspect of it as well. It's like there's a real melancholy in the voice, right? And it's absolutely there in Paul Buchanan's voice. You mentioned Tinseltown in the Rain. I mean, my goodness, what an incredible song. And again, it sounds like Glasgow. It feels like Glasgow. The guitars in it, the splashing kind of sounds of it. It's so much of the city, but also international. And there's that brilliant line. It's like, who is he trying to reassure here? And who's he, that questing spirit? Do I love you? Yes, I love you, right? That wondering. But you also, in your recording career, have wondered yourself with the Grand Gestures, which was the first time I interviewed you. I think it's 2012, right? Sanjeev features on an album, brilliant album, by the Grand Gestures, helmed by Jan Burnett. And what was do you remember the title of?
Yes, I do. I wonder what Krista Berger's doing right now. So what had happened was back around about then, 2011, I think, it would be 2010, I had been, so I knew Jan Burnett from the band Spare Snare, just socially actually, because our wives worked together at the BBC. And we were having this conversation on Facebook about the Age of Chance. Remember the Age of Chance? Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Noise? And they did a cover of Kiss by Prince, didn't they? Yep. Really, really good band, and we're just chatting about it. And then from nowhere he said, look, this is a bit left field, but have you ever written or recorded music? I said, well, I'm a frustrated musician. I'm a very, very bad keyboard player, self-taught. I would love to be John Lord from Deep Purple, but I'm not. I'd love to have a Hammond organ, but I don't. But I have written songs, like comedy songs. I used to write for Chewing the Fat and Goodness Gracious Me and Off the Ball. I'd write parody songs. And I did actually write songs as well. Mm-hmm. I had a Yamaha keyboard when I was 20, and you could record 8 tracks on it. Wow. And they actually weren't shite. They were actually, some of them were quite good, but they're on a C90 tape somewhere. I must dig it out. And he said... Jan said that he was doing this musical project where he would write and record all the music, and he was asking people to contribute lyrics. Mm-hmm. Some people who were already in the business, some people who weren't. And he said, would you fancy contributing to this? And there was a couple of things at that time. I just started going on Twitter before it became the horrible bin fire that it is now. But Twitter was a fun playground at the time. And I'd done these tweets like, I wonder what Krista Berg's doing right now. And genuinely, like, because, if you record something like The Lady in Red, you probably don't have to work again. Mm-hmm. So he's probably just fanning about, So I imagined him, and I invented this backstory for him whereby he was a technophobe. So he says, he's in the Apple shop just now buying a case for an iPad he doesn't own because he got his fingers burned when he bought a Laserdisc. So just this bizarre kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I invented this backstory with him and Jeff Lynne were pals. I mean, they probably are, but I invented this whole thing with him and Jeff Beck and Jeff Lynne were all pals. And then Jan got in touch. I said, well, clearly Universe is telling me this needs to be a song.
Yeah.
So then I wrote this. I wonder what Krista Berg is doing right now, and it's things about basically. Long story short is that I write a final verse whereby clearly what I've done is I've gone through his bins, and I've extrapolated what I think Krista Berg's been doing. For example, like I find an old Dairy wrapper in the bin, so I speculate that he's made his famous lasagna for Jeff Lynne coming round. So it's yeah. I mean, because the rhyming couplet that kind of sums it up is, I don't know what Krista Berg is doing. You see, the only thing I know is he's not doing it with me because there's been a restraining order. And it was just a nice fun thing to do.
Yeah,
and in my head, Jarvis Cocker's singing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would quite like Jarvis Cocker to hear it.
Yeah.
And I'd love him to like it and then want to, is it all right if I record it? I said, yes, Jarvis, you can record it.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get this to Jarvis. This has to happen. It was lovely going back to it because I'd forgotten about it and I'd forgotten quite as much of the detail, the character detail that is in it. You were at that point, on Twitter. It was great.
In fact, he's got a dog that he takes to the beach. It's a red setter that he's called Lady. A lady in red, yeah.
You can get it. You can get it online. You can get it on, I think certainly on Bandcamp, probably even on, dare I say, Spotify, but you can probably also get it on CD, and you should. The Grand Gestures is the band, and yes, Sanjeev's one of many artists. Twitter at that point was absolutely wonderful because you could use it almost as a platform for, for comedy. But yeah, pop music and comedy quite often crossed over. There was a Carol Decker, Tapow, Stushy.
I wouldn't call it a stushy as such. Although I would retrospectively, because it turns out she's a wee bit Brexit.
Okay.
She was moaning about the fact that she couldn't take the cap off her plastic bottle.
Oh, was she?
I'm like, oh, dry your fucking eyes. What's the big deal? What is it you're complaining about?
Carol, and Carol too will be listening, yes?
Yeah, she will be listening. She's also the only woman to be named after something shouted on a hen night. Carol Decker. Don't encourage me. So I had been listening to Six Music, as is my want, and the Selector came on. Mm-hmm. It's just the same old show on my radio. Love that tune. Love Pauline Black. Absolute icon. And just the way my mind works, Black and Decker. Ooh, Pauline Black and Carol Decker. Got to be a joke in there. So I just did this, not a brilliant tweet, but I said, has anyone heard this new collaboration between Pauline Black and Carol Decker? I've heard it's quite industrial sounding. Okay, it's okay. It's not my best work, right? But I do love doing musical ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, for example, Buster Bloodvessel, he's 6'2". It's the height of bad manners. Oh, there, I got a groan and a laugh from the same person. That was lovely. And so, do you know that Mike Oldfield bought a farm and spent £3 million a year refrigerating it so he could call it Mike Oldfield? Oh, Christ, it was. So anyway, I'd done this tweet about...
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought this up.
You've opened a portal to hell, Nicola. Wordplay hell. I'd done this tweet, and then a few people got back with haha, groan, and then the 10th one back came back and it said, what are you talking about? And it was Carol Decker. And I double checked and I verified it myself. She just had tea with Toyle Wilcox. It was definitely her. And I suddenly panicked and I said, oh no, it was just wordplay. And she said, no, it's not that. It's just I have recorded something with Pauline Black, but we never went public with it. And I said, well, did you not think of a corporate tie-in, Carol Decker? And then I said to her, I should probably do my other Tapow joke. And then she said, what is it? And I said, is it true that you opened an Atlas shop called China in Your Hands? And she got back with, I thought you were a comedy writer. Burn!
Is that right?
Burned by the Decker.
I didn't know the second part.
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
true.
I just remember the Black and Decker. There you go. It was all happening. You see, it was all happening behind the scenes. Just finally, while we're speaking of music, you touched on being a keyboard player. I'm very interested in these songs, by the way, that are on a C90 tape that were recorded when you were about 20.
There's one banging dance tune.
Really?
Which is
we need to hear this.
Banging dance tune. I can't find the C90 and I've got nothing to play it on.
Oh no, I've got the tape recorder.
I wrote a song that is vaguely Paul Weller-esque and vaguely Lenny Valentino by the Auteurs.
You're just selling this to me more and more. That's what happened.
And there was another tune which was a bit more like 808 State. Mm-hmm. So I need to dig it out.
find the tape. That
Find
has
the
to
tape,
happen.
yeah.
Synthesizer Patel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So at what point in your sort of tenure is this? Because I think when I encountered Look Around You, and that was probably the first time I think I saw you on TV, and it was just this wonderful sort of like part futuristic, part vintage, part scientific musical wonder. What a character. And Synthesizer Patel kind of put out a single as well.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, there was a show called Look Around You, and there were two series. One, I think, was 2003, and then the next one was 2005. And the first one was an incredibly note-perfect parody of the For Schools and Colleges, things that you do when you're off school and you're watching Pipkins.
It was uncanny.
And it was calcium, open your textbooks. And it was wonderful. But then the second series was then a note-perfect spoof of Tomorrow's World.
Yeah.
So I can see there's generations here, some of whom won't know what Tomorrow's World was. It was on a Thursday before Top of the Pops.
I think it was, yeah.
7 o'clock.
That was
and
the
then
only
Top of
reason
the
I
Pops
would
half
see
7.
it, yeah.
And it was very much, and in the future, people will be buckling about on lemon-powered scooters. And it was the first time you saw like 3D television and 3D printing and stuff. I mean, it was, the first computer and stuff. So Look Around You was a beautifully observed parody of that show. So, and it was Peter Serafinovich, who's an absolute genius, and Robert Popper, who wrote Friday Night Dinner. They were the guys behind it, and they were the two of the main presenters. They were a bit like Peter Purves and Kieran Prendeville. Yeah. And the other two presenters were Josie Darby and Olivia Colman. Yeah, so I got to work with Olivia Colman. And they were the four presenters, and it was honestly, it's worth revisiting just to see how parody should be done. All the details are on the money.
Yeah.
So there's one episode it was about music, and then you've got Josie Darby conducting an imaginary choir, and says, "You might think that was a full orchestra, but that was in fact a synthesizer." And we're now going to meet the man who loves synthesizers so much he changed his name to Synthesizer Patel. And cut to me, "Hi, Billy." And I had this shirt with musical notes on and a skinny leather tie. And he was obsessed with people stealing his keyboards. So they all had burglar alarms on them. And there was a liquinth, which was made of water, so it sounds smooth. And play this liquid, and it got real cult following.
Yeah.
Now, do you know it got me on stage at the Royal Festival Hall? Do you know this story?
I don't think I do.
So what happened was, we did that in 2005. It got a real cult following, and loads of people loved this character, and it was such a joy to play. Because I was in 2 episodes. They then had a finale episode where Prince Charles was supposed to show up, and then he does, but then he gets sprayed with the stuff that removes his face. Anyway. So we got this real cult following, and then that was 2005, and I think about 3 or 4 years later, I got an email from Robert Popper, so one of the writers and presenters, and he said, Synthesizer Patel is famous. And he sent me a link, and it's a song by Wilco called You'll Never Know.
No, really?
Yeah. So it's quite a George Harrison kind of major chord kind of song. And from nowhere, it mentions Synthesizer Patel. So it goes like this. It's a long, heavy hell. It's a wish down a well. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. It's a long, heavy hell. Synthesizer Patel. And then a synth fill. Na 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 na. I don't care anymore. It's just literally that. Okay? So I'm loving this, right? Because Wilco, like proper alt-rock heroes.
Totally.
So anyway, about a year after that, Robert gets in touch again and says, I'm forwarding you on this email from MJ from the band, Michael Jorgensen, the keyboard player. And he said, would the actor that plays Synthesizer Patel like to join us on stage at the Royal Festival Hall in costume? So I said, of course I would, right? Yeah. So I went down to London. The problem was I couldn't source the original costume because it was all been packed away. So I had to go around Mr. Ben's in Glasgow. And I bought, genuinely bought a shirt with musical notes on it, managed to find a skinny black leather tie, found these weird white glasses. And luckily my hair was long enough that I could kind of do that kind of uncle from the 70s kind of hair. And then basically at that point in the song, which is about 2.5 minutes in, I just... that was the other thing, was that Synthesizer Patel plays a keytar at one point. Right. So a guitar on a stick, right? And so the band had to organise for a keytar to be sent to the Royal Festival Hall, right? The problem was the taxi driver took it to the Royal Albert Hall. And this is a true story.
They're quite far away from each other.
Not just that, though. The Philharmonic were in. So this keytar's been handed... Nigel, did anyone order a keytar? I don't think so. The guys in the timp... No, I don't think so. And then it got put back in the taxi, Royal Festival Hall. So at that point in the song, I just wander on and do this kind of 80s dance and fire imaginary laser beams into the crowd.
Oh, wow.
And we walked off, and MJ said, how do you think that went? I said, well, judging by the response, I think they thought I was maybe caring the community. It's a very, very cult show. I mean, it's a brilliant show, but it's very, very cult. And then he said, so what part of London are you from? I said, I'm from the Glasgow bit of London.
Yeah.
He said, you're joking, we're doing the Barlands in 2 nights. Join us again. So I did it all again on stage at the Barlands.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
But as I walked
Brilliant.
off, someone very, very clearly shouted, and to this day I don't know who it was, someone very clearly shouted, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I don't know whether it was, I was clearly miming. I don't know whether it was actually John Lord was having a go at me. I don't know, but...
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. But you know, the things you wouldn't foresee as this music-loving kid with all these different bits of music.
I would have loved to be a keyboard player. So that it was kind of a dream. And then the song that you're talking about that we recorded...
Electric Bray.
So what had happened was, I had done a show back in the year of the referendum, and they approached me to kind of write and present a show that would break down the issues of the referendum for school kids. Yeah. So I thought, that'd be fun, because I don't understand the currency debate. I don't understand a lot of the stuff, the oil and stuff. It'll be a fun thing to do. Annoyingly, they put it in an adult slot, and I got accused of being a unionist.
Okay.
I don't quite know how that happened. Anyway, it was like absolutely roasted. But it wasn't. It was meant to be a kid's show. I don't know why they fucking put it in that slot. Anyway, part of it was the whole currency debate. And the joke was, so what would a new currency be if we got independence? Well, as an experiment, I'm going to hand draw Andy Murray on a napkin and see if that gets me, it gets me, the taxi driver takes it. Yeah. And as I go into the taxi, they play a blast of a song I've never heard before. Hey there, Andy Murray, like to watch you play in tennis. And it's really, really funny. And I'd never heard it before. And I found it on SoundCloud, and it's really, really funny. And it's by a guy called Far End Jim that I'd never heard of, right? And I noticed it had like 200,000 hits. So I found him on Twitter, and I said, look, I'm late to the party, but just to say I really, really like this, it tickled me. And he got back to me and he said, do you want to write a song then? I'm like, all right. So I met up with him, really nice guy, John Paul Spears. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's the Prince of Queen's Park. And he does a lot of session work with Hue and Cry and stuff. He's just a really, really gifted musician, lovely guy. He said, what do you want to do then? And I started talking about my obsession with the electric bray. Now, do we all know what the electric bray is? See, not enough Scottish people do know what the electric bray is.
Give us a little overview.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically magic.
The electric bray. If you go to Ayr,
it's on the road to Ayr, and it's an optical illusion, they think, because it's like that, but you can push a Volvo up with your pinky. You can pour water, and it looks like it's going upwards. But it's basically just an optical illusion. But we would take families from India to see this. And we tell people here about electric bray, and they'd never heard of it because it just wasn't celebrated. And I was saying to John Paul, how funny would it be to invent a kind of Scottish electro kind of victim, like a casualty, like a Scottish Sal Solo or something, that would sing a song about electric bray and how you'd harness its mystical powers. And John Paul said, why don't you just do it at Synthesizer Patel? I said, well, why don't I just do it at Synthesizer Patel? Right. So then I emailed Robert and Peter, and I said, look, is it okay if I do this? And they gave me the go-ahead. And so I said to John Paul, look, I'll write the lyric, but I really want it to sound like Japan. Yeah. And oh my God, he nailed it.
I did as
well. And so yes, me singing, it's on the road to Ayr. There is no brown sign there, and you'll find no cafe at the electric bray. Annoyingly, in the interim of me going to electric bray when I was 11 and writing that lyric, they had put a brown sign up. So what John Paul did in the video he cobbled together was a car going past the brown sign as I'm saying there is no brown sign. Yeah, so that was, and it's
commemorated.
actually a really good song.
Yeah.
Because he's such a brilliant instrumentalist.
I love that it keeps coming up kind of behind you, chasing you, okay, the kind of musical aspect. And even
Yeah.
the Bollywood that you were talking about and kind of hoping that your friends hadn't seen those early movies, you know, when they started getting screened in the 80s. That came full circle as well, because it was a kind of Bollywood fever dream, was it not, when you were on stage with Still Game,
the first
right?
Still Game, yeah. That was absolutely crazy. So most people have seen our version, well, not say most people, but the first Still Game live show we did, so we did one in 2014, the second one 2017, the last one 2019. But the first one was the one that sold out 21 times. A lot of people came to see it, and that was also the only one that they filmed.
Yeah.
And the BBC put out a really, really awful 1 hour edit, 'cause it didn't fit the 1 hour. But part of the story was that Isa makes mushroom soup from mushrooms that she picked herself in October. Wink. So you know that there's going to be some kind of psychedelic incident coming, but what you don't know is it's going to be, because there's a whole scene in the Klansman where, now let me get this right, Jack's daughter is getting married in Canada, and they're taking part on the iPad, and they've all got absolutely leathered, and it all just goes like pear-shaped. And then a porn film comes up and it ruins everything. And I just storm off, you elky bastards, and I storm off. Very quickly get changed into Bollywood outfit. And so when the mushrooms kick in, I get wheeled back out with 8 dancers, giving it this. And basically get my Freddie Mercury on.
Yeah, quite, again.
And what was beautiful was that, like, the audience didn't know what was coming. They knew something psychedelic would happen, but not a Bollywood dance routine.
Yeah.
So I got to see this 21 times. 20,000 eyes going, what the fuck? The hubcaps. And I got to watch that.
Yeah.
And so that was wonderful.
Yeah.
A lovely experience.
I mean, what an experience to do that live as
Yeah.
well. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Oh,
was
yeah,
something-
yeah,
It's been
yeah.
such a hugely loved show. And, much of the way we're saying that the Blue Nile is so kind of particular to Glasgow in one way, but also so universal in another, that's absolutely Still Game. It's so Scottish, but it's not in any way parochial.
Well, I mean, this kind of ties into the book that I picked. Because, like, people say to me, Still Game is the Scottish humour. I'd say, I take issue with that. I think 10% of it is Scottish humour. Mm-hmm. But it's universal themes.
Yeah.
It's about the fact that older people don't get less human or less mischievous. Mm-hmm. It's about community, it's about family, it's about looking out for each other. It's about, these are all universal themes, which has meant that since it's been on Netflix, we've got fans all over the world, and, they wouldn't call it Scottish humour.
No.
So, and also just the way that we watch television now through the streamers. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know about you guys, and again, this ties in very, very neatly with the book that I picked. I watched The Wire and I loved it, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on for 2 hours because they made no patronising kind of led by the nose, we're going to dilute the language for an international audience. It was very much about the drug scene and the police scene in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching it thinking, I don't know what a re-up is. I don't know what these things are, but I'm willing to invest. And after 2 hours, something clicked. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
We will happily, as Scottish people, watch a Baltimore drug drama or a biker drama from South America. We don't, or a Swedish Scandi with the subtitles. We're happy to do that. And it seems the reverse is true, that people from Chicago, Japan will happily watch a sitcom about 2 Glasgow pensioners.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, and because the humour is universal, then it does work.
Yeah, and we will come to the book. But also it resonates with the film that you've chosen. So let's touch on the film. Once we've spoken about the film, we'll maybe have like a 10-minute break just in case you want to get another wee coffee or anything like that. And then we'll get to the bedtime reading, which has been well teased, let's just say. But yes, from the kind of small screen and Still Game to the big screen. So the film you've chosen, again, talk about celebrating our commonalities, right?
Yes. I mean, there were a few films I could have picked. Gregory's Girl would have been up there. But I wanted to pick this film not because I'm in it, because I'm in it for about 45 seconds. And,
they count though.
And yet, weirdly, I made the trailer. So it's a film called I Swear. Now, has anyone seen I Swear?
It's incredible. Absolutely brilliant film.
Well, the first thing I should say is that, so like I say, I'm in the film. I play a shopkeeper. I'm happy to handle a curly whirly in any situation. And an absolute joy to be in the film because it is, I think, the best film I've seen in about 20 years, Scottish or not. The most affecting film I've seen. But, so I'm in 2 scenes, happy to be in them. And then I went to the cinema to watch the Naked Gun reboot. We're normally late, me and my missus, for the cinema, but we actually got in time for the trailers, and then they played the trailer for I Swear.
Yeah.
So New Order comes in, Blue Monday. And all you hear is me going, late again? Popcorn everywhere.
Yeah.
What? I made the trailer. I'm hardly in this film. And I'm certainly not structural to the film, but they stuck me in the trailer, so that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, you know, and the trailer is incredible. We were going to see it, and I was trying to, you know, how you have to, like, our kids are 16 and 18, so the youngest, I was saying, listen, Dad and I are going to see this film, I think you'll like it. I tried to explain, I was like, watch the trailer, and she literally was immediately like, I'm coming.
Yes.
It serves so many purposes, and you know, it's
Tell me this,
powerful.
Nicola, did you cry at the trailer? I cried at the trailer.
Yeah.
When they cut to him in the hospital bed and saying, I'm tired. I'm crying thinking about it.
I know.
Because it's such a wonderful performance from Rob Aramayo, who plays the lead. It is, I can't remember laughing and crying as much in a cinema ever.
And everyone else was in a state, like coming out in the best way. And I mean, we should maybe just give a sort of overview if you haven't encountered it of what it is. And I remember John's Not Mad. I remember the documentary and first hearing about Tourette's syndrome. I think I was at like early years of high school. And
I think it was 89.
Yeah.
So basically, John Davidson was really the first public face of Tourette's. So no one knew what Tourette's was, or you know, like publicly. Yeah. And then there's a documentary called John's Not Mad. Was it Channel 4?
Yeah.
Was it Channel 4? And it was basically a story. He was 18 or 19 at the time. And very, very honest portrayal of his life, you know, about, you know, how troublesome it was for him and his family, but how the community rallied round, which was the lovely bit, because they loved him because he's such a great guy. And then there was a follow-up and everyone talked about it in at work, playground, next day. It was the thing everyone talked about.
Absolutely.
And then there was a follow-up documentary where I kind of fell in love with him a wee bit because he was a community football coach. And he was just such a sweet guy who had not let Tourette's kind of affect him. And, you know, he's very honest about how, you know, it did affect him, and also about the humour. Yeah. But what was lovely was that everyone that knew him made allowances and were very understanding. And it's just a lovely story. And then they basically, I Swear, is a story of his life about him growing up in Galashiels with Tourette's. And they skillfully avoid the fact that a documentary was made at all. Yeah,
because I think that would, it's a dramatisation of it. So it's based on a true story. And absolutely, we were talking about that afterwards. You know, that doesn't impact on the narrative and the story of his life and the community that really he builds around himself to some extent. There's a really, really wonderful scene. I don't want to say too much about it, but there's a wonderful scene, a part a little bit later on, where he gathers people together and people who have felt completely out on a limb and completely unseen and completely misunderstood as a minority become a majority.
Yes.
And the act of doing that for anyone who in any way feels marginalised or unseen or persecuted, I think is just so, so powerful. You know, there was like an intake of breath at that point, certainly at our screening.
Yeah, stunning. And I don't know about you as well. I mean, even if I go and see a film that I like, I'll say to myself, well, that was diverting. I enjoyed that. But I came away from that actually feeling better about humanity in the world. Feeling genuinely elevated. And that's a hard thing to pull off, because even as a standalone piece of entertainment, it's a wonderful bit of work. Everything is brilliant about it.
The cast is phenomenal.
Casting. Well, so basically, when I went in to do my makeup test, we filmed a lot of stuff in Springburn. There's a, I can't remember what it's called, but it used to be a school. And that's what they used for the school scenes. Okay. Which are brilliant. The whole thing feels so authentic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In the same way that Gregory's Girl felt like, do you know what I mean?
Completely that. The canteen scenes, the day-to-day, the dinner tables, all of that.
All of it. All the detail is so wonderful. So anyway, I'd gone in to do my makeup test. And so Rob Aramayo, who's playing the lead, he comes over in his trackie. So he's in costume. And he says, "It's what I see, we're a big fan. He says, it's been a brilliant working with you, so thanks for doing this." And I thought, what a lovely boy. I thought, and also he was ticking. And because he was Sanjeev. And I thought, do you know what a wonderful bit of casting. They found someone from the Borders who has Tourette's to play someone from the Borders that has Tourette's. So a month later, we were filming our scenes, and I think it was Mulgai, filmed in the shop in Mulgai, I think. And we're having lunch, and I get chatting to a really nice woman that was on the production, just chatting away. And I said, look, forgive my ignorance, but what's your part in this production? Mm-hmm. She said, oh, I'm Rob's voice coach. I said, is he not from Galashiels? He's from Leeds. And I said, has he got Tourette's? No. He came to Galashiels, I think, 4 or 6 weeks before the shoot, and lived there and went method. And
that's
even John Davidson himself says it's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
The physical similarity.
It's uncanny.
Absolutely uncanny. It's that he will win all the awards, and if he doesn't, I'll make him some awards out of spoons and vinegar, because it's a genius performance. And the young John Davidson, absolute sweetheart of a boy as well from Bishop Briggs, does a brilliant job as the young John, because that was his first kind of big thing that he did. Yeah. And he did a lot of heavy lifting.
Oh my goodness, exactly. And his physicality as well is incredible. Yeah. It is. And just obviously, Peter Mullen, because he said as well, he spoke about the being in the trailer, because he said, I'm in the trailer as much as I'm in the film in many ways, but my goodness, the power of that role, his performance, and Shirley Henderson, phenomenal in everything.
There's a scene, I love everything Shirley does. I mean, I should point this out as well. When the first screening that I went to was a cast and crew, and a lot of the Tourette sufferers came, and when she came on, morning, Myrtle! Which is hilarious.
Yeah,
but there's a scene, again, without giving anything away, there's a scene where she, because Shirley's so good at containing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bit with the ironing board. Mm-hmm. And I was in tears, because she just, all that repressed whatever just came out in a wonner. Yeah. And it was just, whoa. So powerful.
Yeah, she is unbelievable.
She's unbelievable.
Extraordinary to watch in every role, including in Department Q, of course.
Yes.
Right? So, which may also or may not feature your good self. Like, I don't know how many of you have seen it. If you haven't watched it, it is phenomenal. Did you have any sense of how big that was going to go so quickly? I mean, as soon as it was out the traps, it was so fully formed. It absolutely packed such a punch, and everybody was just falling for it. The drama, the casting, the story, the aesthetic, the haircuts. I mean, my God.
What did you think? Genuinely, what did you think of my hair?
I think it was good for the role.
Did you want me to sing Kinky Afro at you? I look like Shaun Ryder, don't I?
It's very much of the kind of baggy genre.
Yeah. Well, so basically, it's, for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's a crime procedural, but it's much more layered than that. Oh yeah. And you've got Carl Morks, the lead. He's this very, very clever, very embittered cop who's brought back for this cold case, and wonderful cast. So Matthew Good, who is stunning. Mark Bonner, Jamie Sivers, Shirley Henderson, Kate Dickey, Kelly MacDonald.
It is incredible.
It's a brilliant cast. All my scenes were with Carl, with Matthew Good, though, because the deal is that he lives in a flat in Edinburgh, but it's not his flat. It's actually his ex-wife's flat. And he lives there with his stepson, and they hate each other. And I'm this weird third wheel. And it's never fully explained. Yep. But I think I came with the flat. I'm a friend of hers. I think we studied together. And I'm this weird kind of Big Lebowski guy, cutting about in a dressing gown, who kind of cooks in this weird third wheel.
Philosopher, academic, archaeologist.
Exactly. Quotes Yoko Ono, not John Lennon. But what was lovely about that was that I can't remember seeing that dynamic before, because you've got the odd couple, but it was kind of an odd throuple. And I think the reason they gave me the wig was I think they wanted it to look a bit jarring, because a lot of the haircuts at the police station were like pure like...
Oh, there's something else.
Croatia ice hockey hair. I mean, proper mullets. And lovely Leah Byrne had a kind of Mary Mungo and Mitch thing going on, didn't she?
Completely.
And I had my Shaun Ryder thing. It worked for me because... So I'm 54, and I don't think he could be that old and be a student still. I think he maybe needed to be
He's sort of ageless because of that, right?
I hope so. I hope so. They had to sort of take out all the white on my stubble as well. But I got to wear the best dressing gown in the world.
Yeah.
And normally after a shoot, I'll ask to buy things. But I thought, I don't ask to buy that because I want to go again.
Yeah, quite.
and it is going again.
Yeah,
so,
it is going again, which I'm
Yeah.
thrilled about. And also, I love that even you're like, I think that's your backstory, but that could go anywhere, right? You don't know that yourself. I love that.
So people might not be aware. It's an adaptation of a Scandi noir, a series of books called Keeper of Small Causes. I think there's 9 books. I've read one. I don't want to read the others.
No,
I don't really
Same.
want to. Do you know what I mean? I've been told my character is in all the books, but what is lovely about the character is he just gives it extra texture. So it isn't just a straight ahead cold case thing. You got these 2 smart arses, kind of, locking horns, and it's good fun. And turns out I'm really good at playing smart arses. Who knew? It's great fun. What would be nice is that Mark Bonner.
I know.
Proper hero of mine and a friend, but I've never worked with him.
Oh, fantastic.
Jamie
okay.
Sivers. I worked with him once in the thing ages ago, but I've not worked with him since. I got to see him in Kelly MacDonald, which was lovely.
Well.
I have been on... Oh, tell a lie. There's a film that's not been out yet called Glenrothan, which is Brian Cox's directorial debut, and I'm in it, and I get a little scene with Shirley Henderson.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I had done Filth, but I got cut. So I'm in the credits weirdly, but so I've been in the same production as Shirley Henderson I think 2 or 3 times, but we never had a scene together. But we have in this film Glenrothan.
Oh,
but it's not been
amazing.
out yet.
All right.
I don't know when that'll be out.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Kelly MacDonald there,
Yes.
among others, and you mentioned Filth. So we're going to literally break for 5 minutes. If you want to get another cup of coffee, I'm going to get Sanjeev one so he doesn't have a coughing fit. And then we're going to come back and speak about your bedtime reading. And if you've got any questions, we'll run into them as well.
Yes.
And Filth and Kelly MacDonald give you a clue as to what the bedtime reading might be. Right. Okay, 5 minutes and we'll be back here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you there, Sanjeev? Oh, you did as well. Hope you all got a little hot drink or whatever you fancied. I've made Sanjeev a little hot toddy, didn't I?
Yeah, a not toddy. There's
A
no,
not toddy, I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I know.
It would
How
be
is it?
hilarious though if I didn't come back on, but it was, I don't know, Jeanette Cranky or something. Just and she pretended to be me.
I would just go with it.
Yeah.
You just have to. You have to just kind
Remember
of.
that Bob Dylan film where he's played by 7 different actors, not all
Yeah.
male and not all white? Remember that?
I love that.
Yeah, let's have that.
Who would play you in a biopic?
Jeanette Cranky.
Oh, absolutely right. Okay,
I think I made that pretty
get
clear.
on the. I know exactly. Get on the phone to the evening. Have you met the Crankies?
Yes.
To be continued on that particular story. Storytelling and bedtime reading. We have spoken about an album that you love, which we've been listening to, The Blue Nile. A Walk Across the Rooftops, I Swear, which we must all go and see or re-see in the cinema.
I appreciate how self-indulgent it is to see a film that I'm in. But if I wasn't in it, A, it would be better, and B, it'd still be the best film I've seen in 20 years. So that's genuinely.
It is absolutely that good on every single count, including your role. Shopkeepers, you have played a few actually before we get to your book.
I think the story of the shopkeeper in Britain is to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Because when I got approached, when I was 10, 11 years old, we had a shop because we're Asian, it's in the small print. What happened was that my mum was a trained social worker, my dad was a teacher. I used to teach in St Mary's in Bishop Briggs. So he was teaching like really, really bad boys, like List D, kind of like it was a residential school for boys who were too young to go to prison. So my dad was this turban Sikh teaching these bad boys. And mum and dad decided to get a shop because my dad watched all of his colleagues getting promoted, and he had his own theories as to why the turban Sikh was getting overlooked. So he said, maybe we just get our own business. So, to me, it speaks of a really high work ethic. Also, I mean, if you look at someone like Naveed and Stogie, I mean, he's the one driving the tan Merc with the private number plates. He's doing all right.
Absolutely.
He's, what I mean? But also as well, and this is a little known fact, and it's not abused that much, but if, for example, every single shop in Britain was to drop the price of a toffee crisp by 1 pence, economy would be fucked. So I actually did write a sitcom back in '98 called The Nation of Shopkeepers, and it was pre-internet, and the idea was that all the shops in all the towns were linked by this thing called The Nation of Shopkeepers, which was this kind of almost like a CB radio thing. And we only did 1 episode, and the idea was that they to try and do a drugs bust by corralling these guys from Peterhead in the shop in Peterhead. Anyway, the point was that it was about this network of shops, and that was really the first thing that I did. I used to write The Lonely Shopkeeper for Tune the Fat, Karen Dunbar, with individual fruit trifle. For me, the thing about the shop as well is that any good sitcom is about being trapped. So if it's Porridge, you're literally in prison. If you're Alan Partridge, you're trapped in Norwich between where you want to be and where you think you should be. If it's The Office, Ricky Gervais would like to be a stadium rocker, but he's trapped in a paper factory in Slough. And in a shop, you are trapped. Anyone that has ever worked in a shop knows that if you want to get a dental appointment, then you have to wait 2 years till someone will do your shift. And by the way, if you do work in a shop and you've been firing chocolate tools and cola cubes in your mouth, you need a fucking dental appointment. There's that notion, but also it's the whole thing of, and I know this having run a shop, is that whether you like it or not, you know everyone's business.
Quite.
So I've always said this: if someone comes into a shop and asks for like a puzzler book and a Lucozade, that's a hospital visit. Yeah. You can take that to the bank. Or someone comes in and they want like a box of tea bags and like a Jumbo Galaxy, they're probably going to watch Midsummer or a box set. Or if they come in and they ask for a tub of Utterly Butterly and a copy of Razzle. But there's this whole thing of whether you like it or not, you have all this knowledge. And with Fags, Mags and Bags, the notion there was that my character Ramesh was a lovely, benevolent guy, and Dave, his kind of like his wife, were the kind of mother and father of the situation. And we had this knowledge about the whole community, but we used it for good. So it's almost like a dry Cheers. Yeah. I saw Ramesh as very much kind of like Sam Malone, but in a corner shop. And I just loved how we could reflect what was going on in the world through this microcosm of a shop. Because the beauty again about a shop is anyone can walk into a shop. So it could be a hypnotist or a beekeeper or Buzz Aldrin or Jeanette Cranky. So your story of the week could be anything.
You were also, of course, on our screens recently as a shopkeeper in the Irn Bru advert.
Yeah.
Again, like these were iconic, the Irn Bru adverts for a while in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, and it felt very much like a return to form. It's a brilliant advert. The sort of iconography, if you like, and that sort of Scottish branding. And actually, to come back to the book, I mean, again, a word, a brand, a poster, like complete landmark in Scottish literature, if you're going to read us a little bedtime. And I've got to say, by the way, if you were reading us this particular book, it would be great, because someone, lovely Marco Rossi, who's a musician as well, got in touch with me when I said that I was going to be interviewing you. And I don't know where I've even put it. Oh, here it is. Sanjeev is so great. He is my voice of choice in the Couch to 5K app.
Yes. You got this, Marco. You're a runner now.
All right. So yeah, it would be lovely if you read it. But I mean, in terms of like that Scottish voice, but is utterly shock or like nothing else. Trainspotting's got to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, I could have picked it as my film as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's the film is very different from the book and a work of art in itself. I mean, briefly about the film, what I love about it is people say it glamorized drug taking. Yeah, it did for the first half hour. That's the whole point. That's the whole point about heroin. It draws you in, and then then you've got babies twisting their heads near you. But the book, the reason I picked it is we kind of alluded to this before. Is that the way that Irvine Welsh writes is absolutely unapologetic. I'm going to write like a Leith junkie, and you can join me or you can fuck off, your choice. And I remember everyone was talking about Trainspotting, and I remember taking it must have been 96. I took it on a flight to London, and I think that was when I started reading it. As a very camp guy in the plane, the air steward, he says, "You're going to fucking love that, by the way." And I just remember thinking that Trainspotting is really like it's hitting all the demographics.
Yeah,
that's
true.
And it's like The Wire. I think I got to page 63 before something went. Yeah. And then suddenly I was a Leith junkie. This very middle class private school educated Bishop Briggs boy was a Leith junkie. Yeah. And that's the reason I think why I love it so much, because the universe that he creates is so consistent, and also just that thing of, it's a bit like Four Lions by Chris Morris. Chris Morris is another hero of mine. You know, to be able to actually make people empathise with suicide bombers, to be able to make, because let's be honest, in Scotland, the war on drugs, everyone's so judgmental. Well, maybe travel with people and see why they're taking drugs and what they're getting from it, and it goes wrong. But I just I love the feeling like being in that landscape, because you have to give of yourself. You have to make that journey yourself to persist. But I could have given up after page 10.
Sure.
After the 12th like say. Because it's something like say. What's he saying? They're like, what does like say? Like say, and they know, right? I'm in. And I really, really felt that was part of the journey. And I do love Irvin Welsh's writing. His capacity to shock is stunning.
Yeah.
And
especially there was no expectation at that point.
No,
so
exactly. See, it wasn't like you had to repeat a trick.
Quite.
So yeah. An absolutely fantastic book, and all of his work actually.
Yeah. That idea of storytelling though, and it transcending whatever language setting, the basements and toilets of Leith and Trainspotting, right? But the other thing about that was I spoke to Sir Irvin Welsh's just published Men in Love, which follows the protagonists stroke antagonists of Trainspotting.
As in
to sort of
nowish?
Nowish, yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. So they are
So like they're
different.
like Coke,
Actually, no,
the Coke addicts.
they've been further in the future, or the present. They are now in the late 80s and early 90s in Men in Love, so it's the kind of second summer of love. If you haven't read it, it's well worth reading. But I interviewed him for Radio Scotland when it came out, and I asked him about, did he always have Renton named as Renton and Spud as Spud, Sick Boy and so on, and their real names, if you like. And he said he kind of he looked through the Edinburgh phone book, and that's where he got the sort of inspiration for these names. And I love the fact that, or he'll say, sitting on the bus or sitting on the underground and just kind of studying people. You don't consciously go, I'm taking that at that point, but it all feeds in. And quite. And I wondered if, for example, I know that in Still Game, Naveed's script was all written by Greg and by Ford, but by the same token, you're still bringing a lot to it. So consciously or subconsciously, were there people in your life that informed Naveed and who you wanted to bring to our
the one
screens?
person I channeled was Chewbacca. Yeah, junkie bastard. No, it was my dad.
Ah, okay.
So think about my dad. My dad, who passed away last year, actually got to 90. He wasn't a Ouija. So he was 31, 32 when he came to London, and then he was 38 before he came to Glasgow. So he didn't have the Ouija, I call it Glaswegian. He didn't have that twang. My dad was very deadpan though. Eat that, you cheeky bugger. Check the pressure in your boiler. Check the pressure in your tires. Check pressure everywhere. Come with me to Macro to buy a block of cheese the size of a mini metro and 3,000 tea bags you'll be drinking for the rest of your natural life. That's my dad, right? Very, very deadpan. But I'd also... I love the Glasgowian thing because, I grew up in Bishopbriggs, very vanilla. I went to St Aloysius. I was one of three brown people in the place. But I went to Langside College in sixth year. And then I was hanging about with FA and all, Emmy and all that, and they taught like this. See, thing is, since you were 8, yard, I've got friends, I've got cousins with hockey sticks, yard. If you wrong me, they break your fucking legs, yard. And I'm loving this, I'm lapping, so I'm totally brand new, by the way. They bother for the big man. So I love that combination, because pretty much any city in Britain will have an Asian version of the accent. It's like 4 lines, rubber dinghy rapids, bro. Fuck many baby bells. It's that hybrid thing, and I love that. So I knew that I could bring that to my dad. Now, here's the thing, Nicola, and I think this is true, but your mind plays tricks. I think I asked to play him as my dad, as a turban Sikh, right?
Ah, okay.
But that was never going to wash, because the wedding episode, nae drink at a Muslim wedding. Now, you can't say nae drink at a Sikh wedding, because it would be a lie.
Yeah.
Because if anyone here been to a Sikh wedding, it's like a fucking brewery. There's like a bottle of vodka, a bottle of peach schnapps for some reason at every table, and it's all free. It's like pints free. So you couldn't say nae drink at a Sikh wedding. So I'm wondering whether they just said, well, we'll lose the turban but keep the beard.
Ah, okay.
But it just gave me a visual thing. It just meant I could, because when I put on the beard and that, and then a fake belly, by the way, I would just be like my dad. And I would suddenly start flicking imaginary walls to see if they are structural and kicking tires. Petrol station. So it was useful for me to just channel my dad again, and to the point where I would watch it back and it would make me shiver how much I was like my dad.
I was going to ask you about that, especially you've lost them recently, because I sometimes will see people. I posted a picture, in fact, of you as Naveed when I was saying you were coming to do this, and I could see a couple of people underneath going, "I thought that was your dad there."
Yeah. There was when I'm doing this Duri Maduri, the bartering, 11, 12, 13, 12. I go like this. I did a thing, and I didn't know I'd done it until I watched it back, and that's my dad.
Yeah.
But also as well, when we were doing the Hyperdeals episode, and Michael, the director, had said, right, we're just going to film you just fanning about. Like, you know, you're Naveed, you're pissed off, you've come to Hyperdeals, but it's actually really good.
Yeah.
And so I did this thing where I walked like my dad. My dad would walk like Prince Philip inspecting the troops. So his hands behind the back, striding about, head up like this. And I just flicked a box, because that's what my dad would do.
Yep.
And it was just, I turned into my dad.
Yeah.
So so that was my dad, was who I was bringing physically to the park.
Quite, because that's it. You never know where your inspiration is going to come from. We should wind up because we've gone over it. But just while we're on that subject, any idea what influences in your passing life or otherwise you might be bringing to the Wizard?
I don't know yet.
Played many wizards? You played a synth wizard.
It's probably just Jason King. I'm probably, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'll probably just be.
And you're a Prince fan, right? So that's not so far from Jason King.
Prince is the only man I've ever stalked. That's who I'm going to channel.
I know.
I'm going to buy Prince's stockings online and summon their power.
Billy Sloan's got his waistcoat.
I know,
Anyway,
from the '94 after show. Yeah.
I've seen it. Anyway, we could literally be here all day, quite evidently. At the same time, Sanjeev has just about finished his hot toddy. We've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the stand. Sanjeev Kohli. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
The one and only Sanjeev Kohli. You can catch him live in The Wizard with the Big Baws at Greenock's Beacon Arts Centre on January the 15th and 16th, at Denny's Civic Centre in Dumbarton on the 17th and the 18th, and then at Glasgow's platform on the 21st, 22nd and 24th of January. Thank you as always to Fraser, Sean, Tommy, Julia and everyone at the stand in Glasgow. Sanjeev's also on The Weakest Link this weekend. That's Saturday, January the 17th, if you fancy watching him on the box. Still Games also on BBC iPlayer as always. I Swear is still in selected cinemas and it's streaming online now. And Fags, Mags and Bags is on BBC Sounds. You can listen back to more Still Game chat thanks to Sanjeev's pal and co-star Gavin Mitchell, aka Bobby the Barman, on A Kick Up the Arts. And there's also an episode with another panto legend, Grant Stott, which is well worth hearing if you fancy more chat about Scottish music, films and books. And Irvine Welsh. Speaking of whom, there's an episode with Irvine Welsh coming soon. For now though, thank you as ever for listening and getting in touch and coming to the live events. Bye for now.